Josh Harkness says, how is it after the start of the day that the story is still on England's batting? You've got to admire them for always stealing the headlines, don't you, Miller?
It's always England's batting. There's been nothing wrong with England's bowling. That's why Jimmy Anderson is still England's main bowler after 20 years of being England's main bowler. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. He's a bit creaky now, but it's the batting is the problem. It's always been the batting. It will always be the batting that is the problem.
Sometimes the fielding, but almost always the batting. I think it's the most important thing. I will say in this particular case, we were obviously, you can be very, very hard on them, and me and Miller both were in our columns yesterday. Absolutely no doubt you can be hard on England's batting yesterday. That particular bowling, though, you don't come up against bowling of that quality that often. And honestly, after 4.3 overs, I was looking at it going, how on earth have they not lost a wicket here? It feels like they should be all out. Don says, is that the best Starc has bowled in a test match? Well, the thing about Starc is that he has those moments all the time. It's just that in the middle of those moments, it's mostly him not taking wickets and Shane Warne mooning about it. But he does do that. And especially at the MCG, once he gets his head up and that crowd gets behind him, it's good luck to anyone facing him, really. But I do think that this particular series, he's been a lot better than he had been over the last couple of years. And I think England maybe just ran into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that Starc bowled the best he's bowled in a test match at Adelaide, actually. I thought this was just the best he's bowled in a spell that I've seen in a long time.
Tony says, where would England finish in Sydney grade cricket? I'll say this, in Sydney grade cricket, you just don't run into Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc as much as you'd think.
But you say that, you probably do occasionally, because they might pop in from time to time, which, frankly, Sydney grade cricket is where Wasim Akram should be spending this winter. I mean, I thought, he's got 7 runs across 41 balls and 2 innings, and I genuinely do not think he could have done more for the cause in this test match. He played out of his skin, and he was completely blitzed. There's absolutely no reason, no excuse for England to pick Wasim Akram at this stage of his redevelopment as an international cricketer. It's an absolute travesty, and I hope it doesn't set him back too far.
Jeffrey says, was Jack Leach a night watcher, or were they just trying him out in the middle order after running out of other options? I mean, I felt for the guy. I mean, they waited until there was left-handers to bowl him, and then they said, do you know what, why don't you try this short and outside leg theory for a little while? I thought he bowled really well to the right-handers, because shock horror, he bowls really well to right-handers, and then they sent him out to be the night watcher, which it's wrong.
I mean, it's almost as wrong as the openers they picked for this test match. Everything England do is wrong.
Fahim says, Wasim Akram, Dale Steyn, and Pat Cummins, question mark.
If you were to pick Australia's all-time bowling foursome, Dennis Lillee, Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, Pat Cummins, that would be pretty handy. I wouldn't mind throwing him in there.
Yeah, I think at the moment of the bowlers with over 150 test wickets, he has the 6th best bowling average ever. He has a better bowling average, I think, than Glenn McGrath at the moment, certainly than Dennis Lillee. So, yeah, I mean, he's a different kind of bowler than Wasim Akram and Dale Steyn as well, but they're all fantastic bowlers. I've never seen a fast bowler this accurate ball after ball. When he wants to put the ball somewhere, he does it at 87 to 93 miles an hour consistently. And I don't know how you play that, especially when you've got the wobble ball seam. I actually fear for what it would have been like if Wasim Akram had discovered the wobble ball seam. He might have had a negative average. Said to Shock says, Green's batting. There seems to be some funny content there. Well, look, the thing with Green is, I thought that was probably the first time in this series where he looked like he might be able to, I was going to say make some runs. That's probably wrong because he virtually didn't hit a ball off the square, but he looked like he was going to be out there for a while. So if nothing else, I think that's important for him because he's looked pretty uncomfortable batting in Test cricket since he made his 100, really.
I mean, since he made 100, I mean, it's a tough problem to have. Here he is getting Joe Root out for fun and picking holes in his long levered batting. He'll come good. He's got long levers. He'll just plant the dog one day and woof it.
Danny says, how many stumping opportunities has Jos Buttler missed in his Test career? I don't know who's keeping stats on that. I don't have it to hand, but I know that in this particular series, I think he's missed more stumpings than he has actually made in Test cricket now. He has the lowest stumping to catch rate of any wicketkeeper over 50 catches in the history of the game. And when I say that, I think his rate's like 0.67 or 0.75 or something stumpings per to catch. So literally, he's almost had no stumpings. That's less than Jeffrey Dujon. And if you're too young to get that reference, Google who Jeffrey Dujon is, and you will understand why. If Jeffrey Dujon has more stumpings than you, something has gone wrong. Kartik says, could they have just added another hour to the play and finished off this horror show? I mean,
Yes.
would they have needed an hour? I mean, it really did feel like it felt on occasions like we're going to get more than a wicket ball. Like somehow both England batters were going to be dismissed off the same ball. It was absolutely phenomenal bowling. If they'd had an extra 40 minutes to bowl, I'm not sure that England even put Australia back into bat.
We almost got it timed out as well. It was that good. I mean, that would have been glorious.
Who appeals for that? David Warner has to appeal for a timeout. If David Warner didn't appeal for a timeout, I would be let down as an Australian. And that was the worst thing. It was so long between the gap between that wicket where you were actually thinking maybe they're actually fighting over who will go out to bat now. Aleph says Jimmy Anderson as Spider-Man in the multiverse. I know,
What does that even mean?
I think all it means is that Jimmy Anderson would rather be watching a movie now than actually be playing in this Test match. Although he bowled really well. He bowled really well, but no one cares because of everything that happened afterwards. We'll see you tomorrow.